Day
Way.
Day 3 of our ISTE preview here on Making Learning Addictive. This is our Past the Scope EDU podcast, broadcast, version, edition, whatever you want to add to that. But ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us this evening. We're going to try to do our best to bring you what to expect when you go to ISTE. It is next week, y'all.
Yes.
It's actually, for some, it's a couple of
This weekend.
days.
Yeah.
Yes, I fly out on Saturday. I'll be there Saturday morning-ish. Got an event that day already that I have to go to, so it'll be good. I'm gonna miss you though, Valerie.
I know. I'm gonna miss you too, my people. I'm like, it just doesn't feel right to not be at ISTE without my folks.
Ah, but I promise you, we're gonna find a way to make you involved. And then I said that last night, I kind of threw you for a loop, but we're gonna figure that out, for sure. All right, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome. If you're watching us live or watching us on replay, we thank you for spending some time with us this evening. Like I said, we would like to present these shows this week just to get people prepared. Whether you're a ISTE veteran or this is your first time, we're going to bring on presenters because we like to present the people's perspective of what these conferences are all about. So we're going to be talking to presenters today. We got 4 special guests that we're going to bring on. But we're going to be engaging them in questions, so you know that you need to put this on your schedule so you can actually go see some sessions. We've had a great 2 days so far, and anticipating a great night, and tomorrow wrapping it all up. Cool. But how you be though, Valerie?
I'm hanging in there. You know
Yeah.
what? Life has been busy, but it's a good thing. I feel like my feet are on solid ground.
That's kind of important.
Yeah,
Okay.
it really is, because this past year, as I've told you many times before, I was drowning. I was underneath. I didn't even have my head above water. I was submerged. So it feels good to have my feet planted. I feel like, okay, I can breathe a little bit. How about you? How's things on your end?
You know what? Everything has been pretty cool. It's for me, it's our slow season because school is out for most folks, especially in our area. So the conversations, have, not as many are happening on a daily basis, but it gives us a chance to reflect. And, and I'm a very reflective person, as many people know, and getting a chance to look back on this, these past 6 months,
Mhm.
our progress, how much we've grown, the things that we've learned. This has been an opportunistic time to do that. So,
Yeah,
that's pretty groovy. And plus, give me some chance to spend some time with my kids since they're out of
yeah,
school.
absolutely.
You know,
That's the
cause,
best part of it all.
yeah, cause my son's leaving for college in a couple of weeks.
You ready? You got some grown folks there.
I know, 2 of them.
Well, you guys have done well as parents, and that's how you look at it.
Thank
You
you very
did your
much.
part.
Yes, we've done our part. We've done our teaching. It's now time for them to fly. So
Yes.
excited about that. So, ISTE. Talk about ISTE. So Monday we talked about what we like best about ISTE and conferences like this. Yesterday we talked about what to pack. Today we're going to talk how to keep yourself notified during the conference. And for me, I found one of the best ways to do it is using the ISTE app. And a lot of people
Mhm.
forget that is available for them. Have you had success using the ISTE app in the past?
I have actually, and I, you know what? You're right, because if you don't schedule it, it's almost like your Google Calendar. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
set and schedule that appointment, although you have it in your head and every intention to be there, and you know it's important, there's something about when that notification goes
Yep.
off, that reminder that goes, oh yeah, because you could be caught up in a conversation easily with
Oh,
someone and miss your whole session that you plan to attend.
yes, especially if it's somebody you follow on Twitter or follows you, and they say, "Oh, wait a minute, I know
Yeah.
your picture." You know you in real life. They say, "I know your picture. I know who you are," and you get caught up on your way to something you completely forget. So, having
That's
that app is super super important. We're gonna bring it up here a little bit just to give you guys a glimpse. of how you can actually use this app. I'm already signed in, of course. So remember, when you download the app, you have been sent a code. You need an access code in order to sign in. So a lot of people get frustrated when they know their password and they keep putting their password in and they can't get into the app. It is not your password. It is your access code that it was sent to you in your registration. So make sure you actually go get that in order to sign in. But I'm just going to give you a couple of quick tips, on how to use this, or for me, the best way to use it. First of all, I like to look up by presenters. So when I press that presenter tag, I have an idea of who I'm looking for and who I'm eager to hear from. So you can always press on this all presenters, and of course, everybody's going to be listed, right? But of course, the search button is at the top, and you're actually able to type in who it is you're looking for. Once you find someone, I'm just going to grab somebody here real quick. I don't even know who they are. You'll be able to see what their sessions are. And if you click on the session, you'll be able to get a synopsis of what the session is about and who the other presenters are, if there are. But most importantly, gives you the opportunity to put them in your favorites, as that's who you're looking for, which will make it easier when you are trying to find them later on. For example, our guests, for these next two shows are in my favorites already. So I'm able to just click on that star and I'm able to pull them up, right? So that's one way you could actually use this app. Other is when the expo hall opens, the floodgates are literally open and people are running through. I highly suggest you be strategic about who you're actually going to see. All right. First day, do that. The last day, be strategic about who you want to go grab the leftover swag from. That's just the real.
Because they can't ship all that stuff back. It
No,
costs
they
them too
they
much.
can't. I'm just gonna put it right now. My children's game room when they were little was furnished by Brain Pop Furniture. when ISTE was in San Antonio, I drove my big truck down. I knew I
Wow.
was coming back with something, and I just put it in the back of my truck and hauled it back home.
Smart, smart, smart.
With that being said, once again, it's the same process. You can click by all exhibitors there, or you can actually go to your favorites if you have some locked down already. But once you go into your all exhibitors, you can search as well or scroll through if you're just curious about who's all going to be there. Other thing is, if you know who's actually being one of the major sponsors, that'll help filter things down. But you also have a filter button to drill down a little bit further. That'll help. All right. So I highly suggest you at least do that. There's other ways you can actually go into this. For example, when I'm at home, go home. There you go.
There you go.
Go home. This is your dashboard, so it's going to put all the information about you, and this, when you click on these topics of interest, what it's going to do is actually going to curate everybody who actually selects those particular check boxes. And it gives you an opportunity to get some extra networking in because you'll be put into a group with those people who have that same interest. So that's something I would suggest you also spend some time doing as well. Anything else that you would suggest on this?
No, you hit the major ones. I mean, that's the key, really. The doing it by presenters, and just hitting those favorites so that they just automatically populate at the top, and you're not feeling like you're drowning and navigating through a sea of names and tabs. That's key. And then the second piece that you mentioned. Now, well, you didn't mention this part, the gaming piece.
The gaming piece.
The gaming piece. I know that there are some folks that thrive on that. I've always drowned in that area. I think Josue Falez,
Oh my goodness, yes.
he is a maniac over the gaming piece, but maybe you can expound on the gaming piece a little bit more if you're a little bit more familiar with
Well,
it.
it's forcing me to select something, so in order to get to that point here, so I'm just going to select something just for given this example's sake. All right, pull up my information. Oh, wow. This is big this year. Hold on. Well, anyway, without me having to go through all of this, there's usually some activities that are going on throughout the conference. Scavenger hunts, photo puzzles, whatever the case is. I can't name them all, but if you have to be in tune on the app in order to know what it is that you have, the task that you have to complete. And there's typically a prize for that they'll tweet out. And the only way you can do that is by signing up inside of the game center in order to see the activities that are going on. I'm not going to go through all this process, right now. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just not,
Yep.
because I don't want to just select something to get accidentally be in the group that I don't want to be in. So we're gonna go home for right now.
They'll be like, oh, we have a non-participant here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Somebody needs to engage that student.
Well, we highly suggest you do check out the ISTE app. Once again, there'll be links inside of your registration as well, but make sure you get that access code in order to be able to sign in. So that's our tip, for the day. Cool. Let's go ahead and bring on our first guest.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Stephanie Howe.
Hi,
What's
everyone.
up, Stephanie?
Not much. Can I just do a brag about myself real quick? I was
Absolutely.
last year's game winner.
Say it again.
You were last year's game winner?
Uh-huh.
No way.
This
You
year I will
beat.
not be playing because it took over my life. So good luck to whoever's playing this year.
So what was the game that you won? What did you have to do?
ISTE was virtual last year, right? So
Yeah.
with the game, there were hidden Easter eggs on different websites.
Oh yeah.
I built a PLN of random people, and they helped me find the A. We had it all mapped out. It's probably really pathetic. And then I didn't even win the raffle. So yeah, I'm still bitter about how much time I put into this, but I feel like I can still brag about it because of all of that. They had a daily riddle, I think, that you had to go in and put the password in. You had to do so many sessions. You had to type in the chat.
Wow.
Yeah, it was intense. I will not be playing this year because of my mental health.
So if you're a first-time ISTE goer, would you suggest, participating in those activities?
I would not. I would say maybe second or third year.
Okay.
It's fine. But first year, no, go experience it.
Gotcha.
Wow.
That you know what, that is key. If this is your first time, ISTE is a lot, right? So you really want to be intentional about how you take it all in, and if you're consumed by trying to complete some of these tasks, you're going to miss, some of the rewarding experiences, the rewarding learning, the networking, things of that nature. Even though you can networking while you're playing the games as well. But I like the idea. Maybe that third year veteran, you can spend your time doing that because you may not be in as many sessions, as you would on your first year.
Yeah, and you're
You
not
didn't get any death threats, Stephanie, from Jose Josue Juarez? Because he he is
I
amazing.
did get one from someone though. I won't mention any names, but no, not him.
Oh my goodness!
I think he's going to be at ISTE this year. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I thought I
Well,
saw
maybe he'll
something.
win. I'm not playing, so competition is
Dude.
low.
Didn't he win? It seems like he has won
Every
years
year.
in a row.
Every year.
So it's wow. He's probably cursing at you on the screen right now.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, cool beans. Well, it looks like this year though you're spending your time doing a lot of presenting. This year. So, first before we pull up some of your sessions, is this your first time presenting at ISTE?
No, my first ISTE was back in 2018. And I did a poster session on virtual reality with my district. So there was a bunch of us that kind of presented during that time. So that was my first session.
That was Chicago?
ISTE. Yeah, it was Chicago. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Chicago. Yeah. The year I broke my leg.
Yeah.
Not happy about that, ISTE. Not happy.
Scooting around.
Oh yes, it was terrible, and I didn't know my leg was broken, Stephanie. No, and everybody was like, "Why are your feet so swollen?" It's like, I don't know, but I'm in pain.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Still giving away books. Indeed. Okay, well, I'm gonna show everybody what you've got going on. And I started from the back here. Let me go ahead
Okay.
and get rid of this here. Empowering creative and critical thinking through problem-based learning. And we've got somebody who's coming on tomorrow who loves to talk about PBL. So, tell us a little bit about this session. It looks like this is the one that you're co-presenting.
Yeah, so this is going to be at the Creative and Critical Thinking Playground. And so it's going to probably be on the main stage. I don't know time yet. I'm going to get an email tomorrow, but on the main stage and then also at one of the tables. So I'm
Okay.
really excited because I believe like on the main stage, what we're thinking is kind of talking about um, all of the different steps that come with project-based learning, how to create your question, how to kind of work through problem-based learning and that reflection piece at the end, and kind of just sharing classroom experiences. And then at the table, we're going to share more of the resources of how we've done it with different people, depending on what they need. So that's going to be a fun session with Greta.
Okay. Now, you said you're actually doing problem-based learning, not project-based learning.
Yeah, problem.
Okay. So I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Uh-huh.
Let the audience know the difference between the two.
All right, so problem versus project. Problem is focused on like a problem that is happening in the world. And project is more focused kind of on, I feel like the product of what's there. Very similar processes, but I think the starting part would be that question piece.
The inquiry piece
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
beginning. Okay, love it. I like to emphasize the inquiry aspect of problem-based learning. For
Mm-hmm.
sure. And it took me years to help people understand that there is a difference. You know. So okay, cool. Cool. So what else you got going on?
So this one is going to be in that same playground. So right after I get off that stage, I'm probably going to go back in a little bit and talk about re-engineering your classroom instruction. This is going to be a fun session with tons of tips and tricks. When I taught special education, I quickly learned that a lot of different teachers, including myself, taught at that basic recall type of level. So for example, flashcards. Okay, we're going to memorize these
Yeah,
vocabulary words.
yeah, yeah.
And what I learned, and part of my Google Innovator project, was kind of looking over depth of knowledge, Bloom's taxonomy, and how do we go deeper? So when we go deeper, it's not flashcards. It might be more of those students creating some type of product or kind of taking control of their learning, which is scary, and it takes a lot of time to do that. So again, I'm going to kind of show different strategies. So one might be, again, vocabulary. The before product is flashcards, but the after product, when we look at depth of knowledge, is we are going to be looking at maybe how do we go from flashcards to maybe comparing and contrasting different words, or how do we go to creating a podcast or a meme type of activity with students. So that one's just going to go through kind of quick different strategies like reading. I would give a quiz. Well, I don't need to give a quiz. Like there's so many other activities that are more engaging and higher level, like not pulling just recall facts for students to do.
Cool. And both of these are going to be in playgrounds.
Yep.
All right. So for someone who's never been to an ISTE, what is the difference between a playground session versus a typical, sit and get type of session?
Yeah. So at ISTE, there's so many different sessions. And I think that was my first, like, what is this when I first went to ISTE? So there are some lecture-based presentations where you can sit and kind of listen to a presentation. Then there's posters. So with posters, there's kind of a bulletin board, and then there's like also a monitor, and you're able to have a one-on-one conversation with people about different things that they're doing or sharing in their classroom or what they're doing maybe around the world with education. And so I love poster sessions because, again, it's that one-on-one conversation, and you can really go up and just kind of say, I'm struggling with this. What have you done to overcome that area? Playgrounds are a little bit in betweenish. I feel like it still has that poster feel where, again, it's a small group, but usually you're kind of going over your same session really quickly, multiple different times, and people are kind of hopping in and out. And then you're able to ask questions just like you would in a poster session. Also at the playgrounds, they have some main stages with 20 minutes to sometimes 35 minutes, depending on the playground, of just different speakers talking. So many different ways to learn, and it can be really overwhelming if it's your first ISTE. Don't forget the vendor hall. There's things in there too.
Yeah. I think my first ISTE, I did spend a lot of time in posters and playgrounds because it allowed me to see multiple, learning opportunities. Instead of spending 50 minutes or so in one particular session, I was able to grab a whole lot more by visiting other people and being able to ask those specific questions. So I'm glad you actually mentioned that. Cool.
And what I love too is it's a similar topic. So you're seeing like this playground is on creativity and critical thinking. You're seeing multiple different ideas, like that PBL one with this Reengineering classroom instruction. It's completely different. So you're getting multiple ideas on how to raise the rigor in your classroom for your students.
I was going to say, Stephanie, with this session that you're talking about, re-engineering classroom, classroom instruction, something that comes to mind for me is that I think that we do a good job with talking the talk, that we know that classrooms should be student-centered, right? We'll say that with fidelity. We know that that's what it's supposed to be. But then there's still a disconnect when you get into the classroom that should be student-centered, and teachers still feel that they need to have control. They need to be delivering instruction. And then it gets, like you said, it's that surface level. And so I try to wonder, how do we re-engineer the mindset that goes with the talk? And is it a matter of teachers are just comfortable doing what is familiar and traditional? Or is there really a barrier that's not allowing them to bring this idea of student-centered to life?
Yeah, which brings me to my next session, actually. So my next session is Control the Chaos with Executive Functioning Skills. And I truly, truly believe that a lot of our students are struggling because we're not teaching, they're lacking these executive functioning skills. And when that happens, we get really nervous as teachers because then it is chaos in our classroom. But when we're able to go in and teach these students those different executive functioning skills like organization, time management, and maybe just being adaptable, then we can start doing some of these difficult projects on a regular basis, but it comes with that student ownership. And that's where we have been seeing a lot of our students struggling this school year is just with executive functioning. I don't know if it's COVID or what. Like, I mean, I was used to it with special education and just kind of working with that type of student with executive functioning. But now I'm pushing blended learning and I'm seeing it a lot more. Where in a traditional classroom, you don't see a whole lot of issues with executive functioning because the teacher is able to lead the discussion and kind of follow through with what she wants the lesson to go, and the student can kind of sit in the back and be disengaged or doesn't need to time manage because the teacher's doing it for them. And so with that session, it's going to have different strategies. And when it comes maybe to PBL or when it comes to those vocabulary projects, how are you going to scaffold those projects up or chunk them so that students can time manage, they can organize, they can understand every piece of that task? So that's where I think the barrier is. I think there's a teacher mindset, I think is some too, and time. Yeah. Because when do you teach these skills? Again, time is an issue.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when the curriculum or the district, is saying, hey, there's this
Mhm.
pacing guide. We've got to get this done on this day. You only have 55 minutes to teach the skills. I mean, it's even more chaotic in a math class because these kids are learning a skill a day. And I'm like, are you guys nuts? Like,
Yeah.
it's like
But I
there's
think,
no way. So, yeah,
yeah.
I can do that.
And I think too, though, like what's more important? Executive functioning skills, like teaching students how to learn, or is it that standard of that concept, is
Hmm.
that one lesson a day that they're probably not going to master because you're going so fast. So I think we need to really consider that somehow.
Yeah, yeah. They don't master it. And then
Yeah.
at the end of or certain intervals, we say, hey guys, guess what? We got this big test that
Just
we
race.
want. It's like, listen.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
See. I was trying not to go in, Valerie. So I'm gonna move on. I am. So you actually have, we've got a few more minutes here with you. We've got two more sessions actually happening. So you've got organizing your coaching cycle and then energizing your life with a PLN. So give us a brief synopsis of what that's all about there.
Yeah, so organizing your coaching cycle, that's going to go through the coaching cycle with using the Google coaching program. So with that, it walks through a 5-step process where you meet with teachers and you just kind of hear their gripes and what is their biggest struggle. You're kind of going through the design thinking process a little bit. Then you're researching. So once they tell you, hey, my biggest issue is classroom management, my biggest issue is students focusing on a task or whatever it is, then you're kind of researching ideas and customizing it with them, like planning together what it's going to look like in their classroom, that lesson. And then you get to like co-teach, model, observe, whatever that next step is for that teacher. And it depends on the teacher. And then the reflection, and it can start all over again. So I'm just going to kind of walk through that model, but also providing resources for how I organize each of those different steps. Because if you're not organized, then it can become a hot mess. And you're like, where is this teacher at? Especially when you work with multiple different teachers.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then, of course, you're emphasizing professional learning networks.
Yeah. So Global GEG is something that completely changed my life. It is a Google Educator group, and we kind of made it global. And there's educators from all around the world that are a part of it. And I have learned so much from different educators from around the world. Abid Patel, he's not actually going to be at ISTE. I might try to Google Meet him in. And he is in London. So
Oh,
we were
okay.
able to connect and become really good frenemies. I don't know if we're friends yet. We
Frenemies?
still
Okay.
like he likes list view and I'm a grid view type person.
Oh, okay.
So there's a little issues there. Um, which yeah, we're still working out. But with this, I just learned, and Abid is an IT person. I am your pedagogy, like teaching person. And so when he's like, this is why you can't do it because of the Google admin console, I'm able to understand it. Or he was like, hey, did you know that if you tell your IT team this, that they can actually do that and make your life easier? And so when you start to build these networks, your life becomes a lot easier. And
Gotcha.
you get excited because you're working with like-minded educators who are so excited and solution focused, and they want to transform education right along with you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Got it.
And we know
Well,
a thing or two about PLNs and the
oh yeah.
importance I mean, I would not have ever connected to Brian if it weren't for our
Mhm.
PLN.
Yeah.
And I think it just is a space that re-energizes you, and just reminds you of your purpose and your passion. Because I think we all got to a place in education, perhaps, where we just wanted to throw in the towel, or we just didn't know if our voices were being heard, or if there were other people that thought like us. And so, definitely, to find a group that keeps you energized, motivated, you can learn from. I think that there's so much power in a PLN, wherever that may be, whether it's
Yeah.
global, if it's right in your building, across your district, whatever that is, it's important to collaborate in this space.
Yeah. and definitely makes the world a whole lot smaller,
Yes.
as well when you're active within your PLNs. Well, Stephanie, we truly thank you for, joining us tonight, talking about your mini sessions. You're going to be busy. Make sure
I
you bring
am.
some water and some food.
Yeah, if you see me, bring me water, please.
Yeah,
Someone.
yes, indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you do add Stephanie on your ISTE app that we talked about earlier. See all of her sessions. I believe the other 2 sessions, you're only going to see 3 in there right now, but the other 2 will be added here shortly once those times are confirmed. But make sure you pop in and say hello and check out all the goodness that she has to offer. So, once again, we appreciate you joining us here, Stephanie.
Yes, and follow
thank
her
you.
on Twitter. You see her handle there, Mrs. Howe 24.
Yeah. Thank you.
Got it. All right. We'll see you soon. All right. So that's some goodness there.
Yes.
For sure. You mentioned the word energize. Speaking of energize, vacation energizes me. And actually our sponsor for tonight is Angies Top Travel.
Nice.
So we want to thank our sponsor for sponsoring tonight and give you a little information about Angies Top Travel here. Angies Top Travel Agency, where you can actually travel on purpose and cruise through life. Book a vacation with no confusion on their easy-to-use website. You can book for family trips, family reunions, sorority vacations, even a trip to ISTE, who knows? Whether it's away from home or staycation, Angies Top Travel can help you get away. Or you can actually learn how to be your own travel agency. So where are you going this week? Woo! I need a vacation myself, for real.
Yes.
Can I
That
get
little
one?
boardwalk right over the ocean.
I know.
That was a good view right
Just
there.
take you away. But we about to be taken away to New Orleans. Because we got a resident.
Woohoo!
She's a resident.
Yes. Yeah, so
He's a
I
resident
can't
in training.
resident in training. So
Yeah.
Trying to earn my stripes.
Look how beautiful,
I
I
know.
know.
I-
Love
I-
the scenery.
I'm a little jelly right now. So we know who you are. For our audience who doesn't know who you are, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, for sure. My name is George. I work on the Flipgrid community team, and I'll let the one and only introduce herself.
Hey friends, I'm Janae Armand. I'm head of engagement here at Flipgrid, and we are just so excited for everything ISTE. So I can't wait to welcome you to my city. I think that's the best thing about this ISTE. Look at that!
Yeah, look, man, you got it's rare and everything. We're basically
Well, I'm-
in Jornae's living room right now. This is the carpet on the ground in the back.
This is the carpet. Yeah. Okay.
It's 50 badge and all. Like, it's great.
Okay. Now let me ask you this though, because I see you guys, are outside and you're sweating. Stephanie was asking about the weather. She's from Ohio. She has not been to Louisiana before in her life. So, give us the real. What should we expect there?
It's hot. Okay. So New Orleans, it's hot and humid. You might get a little relief with some rain like throughout the day, but prepare. And just to note, the convention center is about a mile long. So I know we all like to be cute, but make sure you pack some comfortable walking shoes. You
Yes,
will need it.
Leave the heels at home or bring a to-go bag with you. Just do your feet a favor.
Or like my mama says, bring your extra slides.
Yes.
Put them in your purse when your feet get tired.
Exactly. Well, and the good thing is, if you forgot those, right next to the convention center, there is an outlet, so you can get a nice pair of cute socks.
Jordan's got like a savvy educator coupon code, right? Is that what you're trying to?
Look, because I was going to ask.
Sponsor now.
That's what I was going to ask if y'all had some of those vending machines that sell you the flats in the bags. Because that's a moneymaker there.
Yeah, that would have been where it's at. That and water and like little fans.
Yeah.
Slides, fans, and water.
That may have to be the next business venture.
That's the next venture, yeah.
Okay. So George, I see that you're getting accustomed to what's happening in New Orleans. I saw some videos on Twitter, here and there. But first of all, why Ann put those shoes in the refrigerator?
keep them fresh. That's the best way to keep things fresh. Keep your shoes in the
My wife would have had a fit.
Were they some brand new kicks?
No, they're like gently used, I would say.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like we're throwing shoes in every appliance nowadays. I've seen people like throw shoes in the washer and then the dryer, so the natural next stop is the refrigerator.
Wow.
Brian may get this one. She wants to keep it ice cold.
Oh.
I know you don't go for the ice cold.
No, not at all. No. Let me. Where's my pair right now? I got some around here. But that's all good.
Folks who's listening know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Only folks. Only them. With that being said, though, a lot of people know New Orleans. I'm going to talk to you because you're native, right? So a lot of people, what they know about New Orleans, is the food, the music, for folks, the birth of jazz and things of that nature. But with the conference being there and a bunch of educators, around, what are some things that they may not expect that they will be able to experience while they're there?
Oh, I am so glad you asked. Because and we're gonna go off script here because we thought we had kind of like a game plan of what we wanted to talk about first.
Now you know me, come on now.
With us working at Flipgrid, especially with so many educators being on the Flipgrid team, we know how important it is for learning, but our whole team is a social learning organization. So we are hoping that everyone who comes to ISTE learns along with us. And to make that happen, our team, as well as some fabulous educators and partners, came together to create something called the ISTE Flip Hunt. So in this ISTE Flip Hunt that anybody can join, we have some learning adventures already set for you. So you are going to explore history and culture of New Orleans. You're going to level up your creativity with some fun camera photo challenges from our awesome friend Al Thomas. And you will also share in your own unique way wherever you are. So our friends that are not at ISTE, you can still be a part of this learning challenge. Each Flipgrid topic inside of this Flip Hunt will also give you a chance to win some really cool swag, okay? So we'd love to see each of you join and help us to spread the word and get your friends to join as well. So once again, it can be like historical landmarks inside of New Orleans that you can explore. We have a topic called beignet, done that. So you can explore all the beignets, get yourself a tasty snowball, explore some of the museums, explore some of the music. And New Orleans is so rich with culture. So that link, if you're listening, it's just the code ISTE Live, just like the name of the conference, ISTE Live. So flipgrid.com/ISTE Live will get you access when you arrive into New Orleans to this Flip Hunt. And we will love the whole ISTE community to learn and grow with us. In addition to that, not only will it have topics about New Orleans, but it will have some topics really centered around the ISTE standards. So if you are an educator who's learning more about those ISTE standards and how to really implement them into your classrooms, there's some topics there for you to explore as well. So we are all going to learn, grow, share together.
So what ISTE standard goes with eating beignets?
Oh, it's culture, diversity.
Okay, all right.
Connection, right? Like we all have tasty treats. So everybody eat up the beignets, the 10 pounds you gain here. We can all work those off.
It stays here. Yeah, it stays in New Orleans, I think. Yeah.
If only that were so.
You better get with the second line. What is the second line? And do some fancy footwork out in the streets so that you can get some of those pounds off.
Y'all are so good. So we're going to transition.
Wait, that's good. You're setting stuff.
We're going to transition.
So
we just talked about the Flip Hunt, but now we're going to talk about.
Ooh, you got all this planning. Flipfest. So at ISTE, so Flipgrid is putting on our Flipfest, and we're especially. You like that New Orleans sound? You hear that? That's what's revving our engines for it. No, Flipfest is like really exciting for us. We're bringing it back. It's been a while since we've had it in person. We're making it a hybrid event. If you're familiar with Flipgrid Live, it's the same essence of the event. We're a celebration of all the educators, all the impacts that have happened over the past 3 years essentially. So we're back in 3 years of parties in person into one. But again, like I said, we're creating this, celebrating this digitally as well. But it's also special because it's our 10th anniversary of Flipgrid. So this, yeah, exactly. It's like we're into a new age. This is new millennia. But it's going to be a fun time. It's on Monday night on June 27th. Our doors open around 6 o'clock. That's when we start the pink carpet, which Ann and I are hosting, which is going to be a ton of fun. And then the show, I think, we'll have a bunch of other stuff that happen, between 6, but then show starts at 8. But again, we're really, really excited. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to share that we're doing, as a reflection of the past 3 years, COVID, where Flipgrid's going, where this community is taking us, and then some special surprises, special guests, some, feature reveals, and then some exciting partners. But then also it's a party. It's a celebration, and everyone and anyone's invited. I don't know if we could throw the code up, like the registration, or if I can share my screen. But if you go to flipgrid.com and then go to the top, there's registration to RSVP. If you haven't yet, please do invite your friends. And again, like you can be, if you're at ISTE or not at ISTE, hashtag, like there's something for you. There's something for everyone. And we just really want you to be there. And we're just so stoked to bring it back to, of all places, New Orleans, in Jornae's backyard.
And there's a short link that will get you directly there. You can go to aka.ms/Flipfest. Okay, to register. That's all you need to do to attend. It's 100% free. And in New Orleans, that word festival means you're going to get some art, culture, food, drinks, fun, dancing, music. So this will be an amazing party celebrating you. And so we can't wait for you to show up. The attire this year is mighty grand. I mean, you could come as you are. You can. We had some videos that went out today, but we can't wait to see people's outfits.
Yeah, I've been saying, like, you keep it general too, wherever you want, something flashy. I think the last time was loud. So we're gonna keep that kind of like ambiguous nature. It's jazzy, dress New Orleans theme, dress comfortable, whatever you want. Bring those slides. Like we don't want those. It's just be there. That's the biggest thing. We just want to be there with you and celebrate. But it's gonna be a fun time.
Great time.
All right, Valerie, hop in the car, girl.
I know. I'm already picturing folks like, okay, I got to go back to the suitcase and rethink this outfit. Awesome. And and it's always an amazing thing. We see companies come and go, if you've been in this education thing. And one thing that I will say that has been consistent about Flipgrid is just the celebration, the acknowledgement, the input, the voice that you guys give teachers. It really feels like a space where teachers belong, and they're empowered. And so I think that probably attributes to some of your success, your sustainability. And so I really appreciate you guys just making sure that teachers feel empowered and uplifted. A lot of times they feel muted, they don't have a voice, or they feel like they're the last people that anyone comes to regarding education. So continue the great work that you guys are doing as a company, as an organization. We really appreciate that.
I really appreciate those words now. I mean, like, and I'm glad you said it, because like that Flipgrid, like, let's be clear, it's just a tool. It's just like, something that you go on, you type in flipgrid.com and that's it. What makes Flipgrid magical is the community, and what these educators do with Flipgrid to make these magic moments, to make these impacts. That's what's great about it. And like, that's, again, like Flipgrid, just like take it away, that's nothing. But the magic piece of the formula is this educator community and what they've done, especially this past 3 years, taking so much on their plate, on their shoulders, and just powering through it. We can't thank them enough. And we're so excited about this moment to share with them, is to really celebrate them as the educator, them as this community that have inspired us for everything that we're going to be, talking about and celebrating, and so on and so forth. So,
I think for everyone listening, and Valerie made a really good point, that sense of belonging. The power of a community is how each person really feels how they belong in that community. If they feel like it's a safe space, if they feel like they're welcomed and appreciated and loved and can grow in that space, then that will be a thriving community. And so not only are we thinking about like Flipgrid as a tool and the power of that tool to strengthen classroom communities, but also other communities, your families, your church groups, your friends, any other passions you have. I know Brian is a photographer, videographer, etc. Having a space where people can come in and they don't have to worry about how much something is going to cost for me to use this. And having the ability to have the power in how they use it. That's what I really love
Yes.
about Flipgrid, is that it's flexible. And I always say, if you can think it, you can Flipgrid it. There's always a way. So if you haven't found that way yet to use Flipgrid, your challenge right now is to find me at ISTE, and we're going to play a game. If you can think it, you can flip it. And I'm going to help you along in that journey, because when that magic happens for you and your community, you're going to feel it. Your community is going to feel it. Your scholars are going to feel it. And you're going to see lots of magic happen. Brian was with me the moment that I was announced as head of
Yeah.
educator innovation of
Yeah.
this amazing organization. And it was because of the community that Brian was in that, Flipgrid saw, this is where, we are going to thrive. Educators can
Yeah.
change the world. Everything that an educator does is helping to change the world. So we are going to pour into educators. And so we will continue that. We love each and every one of you, and, definitely here to see you thrive and to see you grow.
Nobody does it better.
Brian didn't
Nobody
know I
does.
was about to take over his podcast.
No, it is all. It is all good. Nobody does it better. I miss you dearly. Unfortunately, I'm gonna miss Flipfest this year.
Oh
Yes,
man.
I know. I think what's gonna happen is, and I'm sorry, Carl, and everybody else, because you know I'm like the defending poetry slam champion. Just want to show that off. But I'll do my piece. Don't worry about second round. Then I'll hop over to Flipfest. How about that?
That
Oh, there
sounds
we
good.
go. There
Sounds
we
good.
go.
And you know what? I don't want to leave today without talking about ISTE. So, I know we talked about this amazing flip hunt, which, once again, come join us in learning about New Orleans, learning about more about the ISTE standards, learning about, the culture of this great city, and so much more. But also at ISTE, we will be at booth number
1417.
1417.
1417.
Yes.
1417.
And you know what? What I love about this year at our booth is that we will highlight some of our amazing community members who are also authors. So, what I absolutely have loved about, this pandemic, with so many things that have been negative centered around the pandemic, it really has allowed a lot of people to think outside the box and think about how to pursue a lot of their passions. And so we are going to highlight amazing educators and authors at our booth throughout ISTE. So come and join us on Monday to meet up with D. Lanier. He is going to have his book there, and we'll be giving away copies.
Yes. You had it ready.
On Monday, we will also have our dear friends, the Merrills, who have been a part of this community for a very long time, at our booth on Monday. On Tuesday, we will have Yaritza Vijalba. She has an amazing, culturally responsive children's book. Look, Brian has that one too. He's about to pull it out. Yeah! Shout out to Mackenzie's Time Machine.
My daughter has it upstairs.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. I'm glad she has it. And then we'll also have some partners such as Langston League and Empatico. So some of you may know those organizations. Langston League has a Discovery Library
Yes.
page. They have incredible topics for you to learn about history and culture, and really breaking down those barriers that we know exist within our curriculum, right? So come hang out with Langston League and also Empatico on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we will have Genially, our friends over there at Genially. And then we'll have a special announcement with Ed Puzzle early that morning. So we're
Uh
so thankful to have such beautiful friends in this ed tech space. We truly believe better together. So we always, reach out to our friends to see how we can do this together and do it better for you as educators and help you make that magic continuously happen in your classrooms and beyond. Oh yeah, and
Sorry, one more, and then I swear we're off.
yeah, this is a big one. I know most educators celebrate International Dot Day. So
Yeah.
we will actually have the author, Peter Reynolds, and his brother Paul doing a session at the Microsoft booth, as well as giving out signed copies of their book as well. So
Nice.
so many
Nice.
amazing opportunities, throughout Flipfest and ISTE and on that Flip Hunt. So we can't wait to connect and see you all, give you either, a handshake, high five, hug, whatever you're comfortable with at this moment in time. And for our virtual attendees, same thing. We are 100% here for you. So learn on and watch on. And we have this beautiful space to be able to do it together on Flipgrid.
Love it, love it. So once again, if you want to be involved in the activity, that's flipgrid.com/ISTE Live. You want to register for Flipfest, there it is right there. And of course, make sure you drop by the booth at 1417 to see all of those wonderful activities and get a chance to talk to some of those wonderful authors. We just talked about Peter on Monday, as well. So it's pretty dope that you guys are going to have him over there as well. Thank y'all for taking the time from your, from Georgia's New Orleans tour, to visit with us. Is that y'all DJ in the background? Or is that just the environment, just what's happening right now?
You'll always hear music
That's
anywhere in New
sounds.
Orleans.
City
Yes.
sounds.
So-
Yeah.
I can't wait. If I wasn't waiting on my shoes to come on Friday, I would be there Friday. I got some new kicks that I'm waiting
I
on.
did at 4 a.m. in the morning.
What's that?
Did you order shoes like I did at 4 a.m. in the morning?
Maybe.
I think all of us have been up with
We've all
anticipation
been
and
there.
excitement.
Yes.
So
This is exciting. It's our first one's back as well, but this is an event, at least for me, where I just really take the time to enjoy the people. The relationships that I've formed over all of these years, the opportunity, just to see them in real life, but then to have those real in-depth conversations, that's relevant to the struggles and the wonderful achievements that we've made. I love ISTE for this. So I'm going to be there. I'm not doing a whole lot. We're doing some stuff for Pasco BDU, but I'm going to make sure that I touch each and every person that has been a blessing in my life, including the two of you. So I can't wait to see you there.
And how poignant to have ISTE be in a place like New Orleans, where we know the spirit of the people, resilient. When you, just as you mentioned, when you think about New Orleans, you think about food, music, culture, history. I mean, the spirit of the people. And so to come at the tail end of a pandemic, where we know that we have all, to some extent, been in a funk. We've had an opportunity to reflect. For some of us, we've lost loved ones. For a lot of us, we're counting our blessings that we are still here by God's grace. And then to be able to connect in person with people, I think that's just a powerful connection to say this is going to be the city to bring it back all together alive in. I mean, you have to look at how God orchestrated that.
Ooh, that's serious. That's a serious connection I hadn't thought about, Valerie.
Yes. So it's going to take us to so many levels, like you're mentioning, the history, the culture. It's a time of reflection. It's a time of rejuvenation. It's a time of jubilee. It's spirited. So if there are any grumpy people there, put them back on the plane. Say, listen.
No. Bring them here because their mindsets will be changed.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
And I just want to give a big shout out to Valerie and Brian for doing this for so many years. I remember my very first ISTE, and these were two that welcomed me with open arms to this beautiful family in EdTech. And, I think that's the one thing that comes to mind. Yes, this will be like a family reunion. And if this is your first ISTE, welcome to the family. We welcome you with open arms. We can't wait to meet you and learn from you and grow with you. And we are here for you.
Love it. Can't wait to see you guys. See you soon. Thank you guys for coming on here.
You, Brian.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
See you, Meredith.
We'll go ahead and bring in our next guest. Look who it is.
Hey.
Rochelle, Danae, Poth. What's
Hey,
going
hey.
on, young lady?
Nothing.
I see-
Hey,
we all know each other.
I know. And I'm sitting here listening to Jornay and I'm like, dang, I got to like go rethink my whole wardrobe now. And then I'm hearing the music in the background. And then I'm thinking about whenever I first, I knew about Flipgrid and I think it was at FETC and I was zooming around it because I had to get to a presentation and there was just the smallest little space and I saw the Flipgrid and the stickers and I'm like, and I stopped and I looked and Joey was there and I was like, look, I got to be at a presentation in 2 minutes. I got 2 minutes. Tell me all I need to know about Flipgrid. And he just like, bam, 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 name some things. And I mean, that's been years ago. So to hear how long it's been around and stuff. And then we started to use it with my students.
ISTE too, Rochelle.
I know.
I remember it was a STEM room that we were in. And yeah, just amazing. So
It's crazy. And like my students, we've used it for years, but we start to use it for project-based learning with students in, I almost said students in, never mind, Spain and in Argentina, I think about like 6 years ago. And we've still used that. Now, granted, you know, like the students have changed, but when schools close, my students being able in Spanish to talk to students in Spain and to like connect with them through Flipgrid and to have the immersive reader and to use all of those features, it's been amazing. I mean, it's been definitely 6 years because some of those students that I started it with like have graduated college already. I'm like, how does that even happen? I know, because I just feel like they were the ones carrying around, like they were giving a tour of our school with Flipgrid. And like I show them when I do presentations, even last week, I'm like, yeah, well, we connected like through Edmodo and then we had Flipgrid. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, look, I can see them, I can hear them. And so it's just awesome just to see the growth.
You sparked something that we didn't even share. You mentioned you were using Flipgrid for 6 years, but we are celebrating our 10th
I mentioned it.
year.
George said it. George said it.
Yeah.
We'll get
He
out
said
there.
Yeah.
I'm old. I've been saying
Yeah.
that all day.
No. Yeah, because we used it for a couple years prior to like, it just kind of evolved. You know, I was like, oh, they're writing in Edmodo and it's very safe. I'm like, oh, we should use Flipgrid for this. And so it's just been, it might be even 7 years that we've been doing like the PBL and to see, you know, the same teacher in Argentina and the kids make the videos. And it's so great for them to connect and to see like their schools, their clothing. They're like, why are they holding that thermos? I'm like, that's mate in Argentina, you know, and just to develop, I mean, more than just those relationships, but like social emotional learning and develop that global awareness, which I can tell them about it, but for them to actually be able to create the goofiest videos in some cases I've ever seen, but to be their authentic selves and to show what it's like to be in a school in the United States and in Argentina and to have that safe space where they can do that so easily provided through Flipgrid has just been, you know, amazing. And they get so excited. Like, we doing Flip? I'm like, I guess so. Like, let's go outside. They're like hanging from a tree. I'm like, oh my gosh. They're like, look, this is our school, but it's awesome. So I'm excited to be back in person at ISTE. It's crazy that it's been 3 years. I'm going to follow Brian around and I can taste ice cream for him. That's
There
a
you go. There you go.
story.
Yeah. So now everybody knows that story.
I know, but it's so funny. Like, it was just the most ridiculous thing. You could tell it or we could just skip it.
You could tell it. I was San Antonio, right?
Yeah. So that was that 2020 or was that 2019?
I don't remember.
I think it was 2019, but it was you, me, Mary. 2019?
San Antonio was 2017.
Was it?
Was it that long ago?
Wow.
2018.
Okay.
2018 was,
Still.
No, 2018 was Chicago.
Okay, so 2017 was San Antonio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're walking around after, you know, I mean, like heading back, and it was Brian, myself, Jamie Donnelly, and Mary Alice Curran. And Jamie Donnelly, I'm going to throw her out there. I was just texting her a little while ago. She had started this keto diet. I'm like, what are you talking about? So we pass a Haagen-Dazs. She's like, I wonder if they have keto. I'm like, there is no way they have any idea what keto is in a Haagen-Dazs. So we go in, and it's the four of us. And I don't know what made me think of it, but I like to do goofy things sometimes. So, you know, have a sense of humor. So Brian and I did this thing where, like, I was his ice cream taster, and he would point and he would be like, that one, and they'd hand it to me, and I'm like, And he's like, but you know what I like, my preferences. We think, I'm like, yeah, you're not going to like this one. So again, another one tasted. It was just the most ridiculous thing to do. But I don't know what those kids thought of us, but they
thought we were crazy.
Yeah, they're like these grown folk.
I know. Yeah. Well, when you're in a conference all day, like you have to have fun, but but just, you know, for anybody that was looking, there was not any keto ice cream in that Haagen-Dazs. So yeah.
Yeah, forget about that. For sure.
But no.
Yeah, we'll find an ice cream spot in New Orleans. I'm sure Jornae's got some spots for us. I'll be calling you for an itinerary, though, by the way.
Creole
Later on.
Creamery.
Where?
The Creole Creamery is one good ice cream spot, and I highly suggest Snola. It's cheesecake stuffed snowballs. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Man.
See, George, we're going to leave all that. We're going to take all that weight with us.
Stay here. I've been told at least. It's on the airplane when I got off. It's a sign.
Oh my.
So we're gonna tell you all bye. Thank you so much, and we can't wait to see you at ISTE.
All right,
Yep,
see you guys soon.
Bye,
See ya.
guys.
Soon. Oh, Rochelle, you've got a lot going on at ISTE as well.
I do. Yeah. And some of it doesn't show up on like the schedule because people are like, hey, it looks like you have like a lot of free time. I'm like, well, I'm in the expo hall a lot doing some different things too. But you know what? One thing that you said before was about like the relationships and the people. That's what I'm about too. I like to be able to, like when I went to TCA this year, I didn't even get to register because I stayed in this spot for like an hour because Vernon came over and Desiree was there and some other people that we know, and you hadn't seen them in so long, and I like those opportunities for those connections. So what better space than being in the expo or the posters or the playgrounds? But yeah, I'll be on the move and at the different social events trying to fit them all in, but it'll be good to see everybody.
Gotcha. But you're featured this year.
I am. Yeah, I am. I was a very big surprise. Actually found out, thank you, FETC. And I was at, the conference had ended. And we had like 5 hours or so, I think, before our flights. Jamie and Mary Alice. Mary Alice couldn't fly back because there was a massive snowstorm coming. So she was going to fly home to Jamie's. And I said, look, we have like 5 hours. You know, what should we do? I want to go to like Disney or Epcot. So the three of us went, and I remember walking around to do some painting activity they had on a wall. And I had the email come in. I was like, just like, are you serious? You know, I was so shocked, surprised, honored, all of those things mixed in one to be selected as one of the featured voices. And yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great graphic, you know, that they put out there.
I know.
Of course, I'm going to show it.
I mean, they asked for our photos, and so I sent, and then whatever they did with all of the images, like I want that done with all of my images.
I know, but you're always so fabulous. The hair is always laid. It's always just right. I mean, you show up glammed. I know some days I'm looking and I'm like on camera and I'm like, oh man, I should have scarfed my hair down. And yeah, you know, you always show up like Beyonce say, I woke up like this.
Oh gosh, trust me, Val, I did not wake up like this. And this, like, I look like I've just woken up at this point right now after the last couple of days. But thank you. You're very kind to say that.
But you've done so much. I mean, from just published author. I mean, you have been doing the work, and so it is so deserving for your voice to be amplified, to be heard, for it to be featured. You put in a lot of elbow grease into this space and poured into this educator community. So congratulations and kudos to you for the work you've been doing. I'm glad that they acknowledge it and you're being honored for that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was, ISTE years ago when I got my master's, like back in 2014, I think I started, they said, you need to join some organization. And I didn't know. ISTE was one of them. I forget what the other one was. And I looked at it and I'm like, I guess I'm going to go with ISTE. And then I just started to get involved in more and more. And I mean, just such a great, I love the conference. Like I just tweeted actually on the way home from dinner tonight that, on Facebook, the memories pop up. And it was like on this day, 7 years ago, and I was on the train in Amtrak, headed to Philly. I had Teach Like a Pirate, which was the first education book I'd read in years, doing some chat on the West Coast. I think at the time it was like West Coast Chat or something like that, or Sat Chat West Coast, I think is what it was. And just amazed at the capabilities of connecting and the technology and all of that, and so excited for that first experience. I'm like, how has that been 7 years? And taking that first step and putting yourself out there. And I didn't really know anybody that was going except for one person. I met people through Twitter, through like the online kind of interactions. But when you get that chance to actually see them in person, and you're like, okay, you're a real person, or you feel bad because you don't actually recognize them at first, but what a difference that makes. And I think of how much it has impacted my life since then. And not just my life, and my students as well, because without all of these things and these connections that I've made, I would still be doing things the exact same way that I was always doing them. So I'm very thankful to ISTE for the community that it does provide, and the space for educators in person, and then even still virtually for people that can't because of money, cost. They're in school because they're in the Southern Hemisphere, so it's not summer for them. Those types of things. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be very, very nice.
Wow. So, as a featured, are you going to be on the main stage speaking at any point?
I hope not. No, you know what? I had asked about that because, there are several, from our EduMatch community, like Dr. Eileen Winokur is in there, and, we have a couple other ones. Yeah. And I messaged a friend of mine, Tim Needles, who has been very involved with ISTE too. And we were just kind of asking, like, did you hear anything? Do we have to be? And I asked Dr. Desiree Alexander, who we just talked on the phone this past weekend. And she was like, it's different every year. And so I'm thinking, I thought this was going to be like low key, kind of like, stress-free year. And then everything just amped up. But as to my knowledge, there is not any main stage types of events. It's just they're kind of featuring the different sessions and topics and perspectives and experiences people have, and kind of representing that in those different featured voices. And I saw there were some kids that they announced too, some students from different places, which I thought was phenomenal. So,
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how they highlight you and emphasize your work this year. I really still think that they're still putting pieces together, especially as the registration increases, over the time, as more people hear about it or have the opportunity to go now. So it'll be cool. Regardless, they're going to be able to connect with you somewhere because you're going to be all over the place.
Get my roller skates. That's the big joke. That or a Segway, one or the other.
Segway would be cool.
Yeah, I'd probably fall off.
I'll see if I can sneak a hoverboard in here and put you on there.
Yeah, I'd fall off of that within a second.
So, are you going to be doing any book signings? Because you are one of the greatest writers that I've seen or have read. Your gift with words is phenomenal. So, are you going to be doing any of that at the conference at all?
Yeah, I am. I'm very fortunate in that regard, and I love writing. But more than that, what I love about writing is sharing the voice and the stories of others. Which I have books that are just me, but more of my books are with other stories, even some of my students. So at ISTE, I do have a couple times where they're giving books away. So I'll be tweeting that out. If you want a book for your summer reading list, stop by a couple of the spaces. I know that. The one company, Pick My Kid, for school safety and dismissals, I'll be there at their booth 2 times, and they have some copies of my most recent book, Things I Wish, ... new. Okay. Capstone Publishing is giving some away. Kaltura is also, I'll be at their booth a couple of times, and they'll be giving some of the books away, a mix actually, some of my EduMatch books and some of my ISTE books. So stay tuned for that. And then also at the Spaces booth, which again, some of our EduMatch community will be there with some book signings. So some great booths to stop by, not just because we have books, but because of like what those companies are offering for educators and for students and for families, and actually school communities too.
Speaking of EduMatch, I'm going to push for an EduMatch event next year.
Yeah.
Back in Philly. It's because it's back in Philly next year, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. And we need to do some karaoke because Dr. Sarah Thomas loves that karaoke. And I did some karaoke at her karaoke room, my very first experience. So,
we're going to have to rent out the whole place. It's going to have to be several rooms if you're going to do that, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
You get to see a lot of people's personalities in karaoke. You know, Barbara being one of them. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, what? All
She
right,
was
let's
there.
go.
She was there in
Yes.
Philly, and
Her
Dr.
and Eileen.
Desiree, Tool, and
Uh-huh.
Eileen, and I did some songs, and I'm pretty sure the shock value in that for everybody is still kind of out there, but it's okay. It was
Yeah.
a safe space. It was a safe, confined space, so it was all right. And Tool videoed if it was on my camera though, so I know that it's
It's not
it's
going
not.
anywhere. It's just on your.
Nope, it's all mine. All mine.
That's what's up. That is what's up.
Yeah.
You know, I know we've run over our time. You know, for our show, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
One, I can't wait to give you a hug while I'm there, as long as you're comfortable. You know, with hugs.
All good.
You know, because it's always good seeing you. You know,
You
even
too.
if it's just a flyby. You know, which is typically the case with the both of us. You know, so,
Yeah.
you know, it's not a problem. But once again, congratulations.
Yes.
You know,
Thank you.
on this achievement and being honored here. I want to ask you this though before we leave.
Okay.
You know, because you're an ISTE veteran, and then we talked about what to pack and best things about ISTE, and we talked about the app a little bit today. But because of your experience and what you do at ISTE, is there any advice for, you know, a first-time ISTE goer for this year that you would give them?
Yeah, well, it depends on a couple of things. I mean, one, you know, there's so much in the schedule to think about. Like, if you go through and you look at all the sessions, like your brain is kind of all over the place. And what I like to tell people is like, think about, before you even look at it, think about what you've done in the past year and what is something that you tried and it didn't really go that well, but you really liked it and you want to learn more about it. Look for sessions on that. Or something that you thought like, oh, you know what, I'd love to use augmented virtual reality in my classroom. I don't know where to start. I don't have the time. Like those types of topics. Look for something that was like on your, yeah, I'd like to get to this, but I couldn't. And make time for, you know, don't worry about such a like jam-packed schedule like some of us have. Enjoy those moments where you're headed somewhere and you see somebody that like recognizes you because you've connected on Twitter, or you stop by and you have the coffee EDUs in the morning. Like, naps are great, but getting up early and going to those, you know, spontaneous, the social events, those are important. And for anybody who loves to wear high heels, because Mel and I had a special show last night and ladies were talking about like, oh, wearing the high heels and walking around. I go, no. You wear like the flat ballet shoes and you carry those shoes in your bag and you slip them on. But, you know, the snacks, the water, all of that stuff is important. But don't, you know, my first ISTE, I was like, oh, how do I plan? And I wrote a blog about it. It's just like, for me, it came down to the relationship. So just be open to the flexibility of being pulled into a different direction, because you're still going to learn, you're still going to make connections, and you're going to walk away with probably more than what you intended or thought that you might actually end up with. So,
Yeah. And for those folks that are introverts, it's okay to pull away as well, because that we understand can be very overwhelming. There's just people everywhere, folks that are excited to see you in person, and that can be overwhelming. But if you feel like you need to pull away and just take some quiet time for you to be able to regroup, that is okay. Do that.
Yep.
Perfect segue, you know, Valerie, because my post on the Introvert's Guide to ISTE will be out on Friday, you know, for those a lot like me and that need a way to navigate this whole space, because it can be overwhelming, but it is a rewarding experience as long as you know how to make yourself comfortable in that space. So once again, Rochelle, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you.
Yay.
Valerie, it has been great.
Absolutely.
Got one more day, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have several more guests on tomorrow. We can't wait to finish off this preview and see you all in New Orleans real soon. So, you guys have a good night.
Good luck at ISTE.